Un segundito. They will be open. Vale, a ver. Necesito entrar esto. Hostia puta. Va. 828 3624 46 82. Dentro. Participants. Admitir y Arabic interpreter. Joder. Arabic. Vale. Don. Dani. Sí, voy. Hostia puta. Qué pesados. Sirine. Zinab. Sirine.
Sirine, Zainab, and Carmen, I think, in this one. No, is it? No, it's, yes. Sirine, Zainab, Carmen.
Yes, hi.
Hi everyone.
Hello, Zainab.
Hi Danny.
مرحبا زينب. مرحبا.
مرحبا.
So, and Sirine is here. Great. Zainab and still Carmen, yeah?
Yes, with Carmen. She's will join now.
Okay, perfect. Let me go to the third one. Did you attend any of the previous sessions, Sirine?
You mean in round one?
Yeah, the debates, the one before, just now.
I don't know, I was teaching.
Okay. Cool. Okay, so just as a reminder, we're only announcing the winner, one winner. And in case there's no time for the grades and everything directly, it's important to give them tell them who the winner is, say congratulations, and then you can do, as long as you agree on first, second, third, and fourth. And then you can do the numbers later. Great.
Okay, great. Okay, so I think we can start. Check in the teams and check in the participants. Okay, great. So welcome everyone. Welcome to round number 2. My name is Sirim Ibrahim, and I will be the lead adjudicator along with Carmen and Zinab. I would like, before we start, to check if everyone is here from the part of the 4 teams. So let me now call you, and if you are here, please seize the opportunity to check your mic and make your presence. So Nicholas. Can you test your mic, Nicholas?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, great, thank you.
Yeah, my partner Isra is having some problems to join the discussion, but she's trying now, so we'll see.
Okay, so while we finish with presentation and we'll wait for her to join, hopefully. So Nicholas and then Isra will wait for her. Gabriela.
I'm here.
Open opposition. Welcome. Emil Fahouri.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you.
Emil, hello, Emil.
Hello.
Thank you. Nuran, Close and Government.
Here.
Hello. Hi, Nuran. Sara Marakshi.
Yes, here.
Hello. Salma. Close and Government. Close and Opposition, sorry. Sara. Salma, sorry. Salma Misbah. Okay. And Diana.
Hello, yes, I'm here.
Great, Diana. Okay. Have you got any news about Salma, Diana?
Yes, I will see her.
Okay, please write her so that we can start. Okay, so let me remind you of today's motion. This House believes that governments of developing countries should proactively incentivize students to study in their own countries. And this complies to the SDG number 4. Quickly, reminder of the rules of the debate. First of all of you have a 5-minute speaking time, so all speeches will last for 5 minutes. You are allowed points of information. However, the first and last minutes of your 5 minutes are protected. It means that you cannot ask a point of information in the first minute, and you cannot ask a point of information in the last minute of the speaker's speech. Also, between a point of information and a point of information, we need at least to have 15 seconds between them. Another important point is that when you turn on your mic and you ask for a point of information, you should say it, point of information. The speaker either accepts it or refuses it. But if the speaker does not respond in 5 seconds, then we take the point of information as not accepted. You are also allowed points of order. It means that if you feel that the rules of debate are being violated, you can ask for a point of order. There will be time keep on our part, and here I need your attention. So when you hear clap number 1, it means that you are allowed to ask point of information. If you hear again another clap, it means that you are no longer allowed to ask for a point of information. 2 claps, your time is over. Continuous claps, it means you need to stop directly your speech because you are 20 seconds over your time, your due time. Okay, after the debate, we will kindly ask you to leave for 15 minutes for deliberation, and then we will meet again in the room to announce the winner and give you some constructive feedback. I hope everything is clear. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask them now. Okay, so I see Isra is here. So hi Isra, can we check your mic?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, great. And do we have already Salma with us?
Yes, I'm here. I'm right here.
Excellent, okay. Okay, so are you all aware of your roles? So Nicholas, you are the first speaker. Gabriela, you'll be the second.
Actually, we agreed that Isra will be the Prime Minister and I will be the Vice Prime Minister.
Okay, so Isra is the Prime Minister. You are the Deputy Prime Minister. Leader of the Opposition is Gabriela. Am I correct?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Deputy Leader of the Opposition, Emil.
Yes, of course, I'm here. I'm
Okay,
deputy of,
you are the deputy. Excellent. Member of the government, Nuran, are you a member of the government?
No, it's actually me, Sarah.
Sarah, okay. So Sarah, member of the government. Okay, member of the opposition, Selma.
Yes, I'm here.
Excellent. Nuran, then you are the whip.
Yes, I am.
And Diana, you are also the other whip.
Yes.
Very good. So you all have 5 minutes. I hope the roles are clear for you and you have no further questions. All is well. Okay, so with no further ado, let us start. Again, our motion is this House believes that governments of developing countries should proactively incentivize students to study in their own countries. I call to the floor the first speaker of the government. Isra, you've got 5 minutes whenever ready.
Hello and greetings, everyone. We are here all together today debating the motion that says this House believes that the government of developing countries should proactively I should turn camera on. This House believes that the government of developing countries should proactively incentivize students to study in their own countries. We are here, I and my teams, standing totally with this motion. So first of all, let me start with defining the key terms. Developing countries, which are the MENA countries where young people go to study, in France, Spain, UK, Germany, US, or any other developed countries. Incentivize, to motivate, to do something, more funding, job opportunities after graduating, fulfilling the agenda of 2030. These students are the students of the MENA of the MENA countries. They are the people who are studying in university or other places of higher education. So let me start with my argument. We believe that government of developing countries should proactively incentivize students to study in their own countries, because in order to limit this so-called brain drain and to let me say, to protect and keep those treasures of the countries, those saviors that might like change the country's situation in few years, that might make a progress in this country. As we all know, when a student decides to go to another or a foreign country to carry on his studies, he always, like most of the time, plan to get back to his country. But once the host country figures out that such skillful people are like between its hands, believe me, they won't let them back. So for this thing, I said that government should like start actions toward making better places, better universities, start to create universities with the international standards, because like we need to save this skills, we need to save these gifted people, we need to save the students that can change the country's future, make it a better place for the coming generation, for themselves and their families too. How can we ever have a high quality education in the developing countries if all of these best skills are lost? How can we benefit? We will only be without any doctors, without no teachers, with no like researchers. We'll always rely on the developing countries. We need like to protect this group of people. This section is the most important the most important part of our community that all the community and all societies are relying on. They are like the change for the country. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Prime Minister. You had 2 minutes left. We move now to the Leader of the Opposition. Gabriela, you've got 5 minutes whenever ready.
Okay. So dear debatees from opposition and proposition, and dear judges, today we are debating and the topic, this House believes that governments of the developing countries should proactively incentivize students to study in their own countries. So what I found lacking in the definition of the other team is that many definitions haven't been said. For example, developing country and developed country. We find that developing country is a country with a less developed industrial base and low human development index relatively to other countries, when developed country is more developed relatively countries. By incentivize, what is really important for that topic and for the debate is by giving scholarships and offering the housing, so material help for the students. And students, by that we mean university, so higher education students. In this topic, I would like to present some summary of the main arguments that we want to stand as the opposition, and I describe why we don't agree with the motion. I would just refer to what the opposite proposition team have stated. For now, it has been stated that what is important is to protect treasures of the countries, and that the skillful people will leave the country and they will not help the country to develop, which is actually, we believe it's not true. So one of our arguments, the economical one, is that developing countries are in need for better education, and developing countries offer better education for those special individuals that can bring something back to implement to their countries, which are developing countries. So they often may find the situation in their developing countries that they are not able. Point of information, where is that? Go on.
How can you guarantee the fact that these treasures do return to their country and actually gain higher education outside and actually do return to give it back?
Well, it's not possible to always ensure it. However, you can find easily that in the countries such as United States, United Kingdom, or France, as you said, there are many situations, and mostly that's how it's usually shown. It's really the best thing is just give back to community, which is really the Western side of things. Usually, when going abroad, people come back. You see those Harvard students that come back and create amazing projects for their community back in the country. You actually do it because this mindset that is implemented in those countries, those developed countries, is to give back to the community, and the community for those people is developing countries. So they want to make a change, and they will be able to do it when they have education. But once they are locked back in their community, when they cannot develop as much as they could do abroad, they are not able to do it, and the country won't have those special individuals that they would have if they enabled those students studies abroad, and they wouldn't pressurize staying in. What I find and what we find as also really important is mainly on the social part of this problem, is that it's better to invest in the big amount of good students than to keep the excellent ones inside. So what I mean by that, and that has a lot with our definition of what incentivize mean and what has not been defined by the proposition. I will remind you that by incentivize, we mean giving scholarships or offering money, help to the students. And yes, so it's better to not incentivize and to just keep those students, keep it giving the scholarships for the special ones when they actually really want to go out. No, it's better to invest in the facility, the quality of studies, to allow more people to have a higher education. What is the problem for developing countries? They don't have a lot of people with high education to do those things that are really important, not to have one special engineer, but to have 10 of them. So that's what is important for developing countries. So that gives the opportunity for normal students that wouldn't have the chance to achieve success and to be successful in life. They would probably end up after high school. Now they would have possibility to study in the university. Thank you.
Thank you, Leader of the Opposition. Thank you, Leader of the Opposition. We move now to the Deputy Prime Minister. Nicholas, 5 minutes. You have the floor whenever ready.
Thank you, Prime Minister, for excellent speech, and thank you also the head of opposition. As we mentioned, we also do want a quality education where just have a different aims. How do we do that? We don't see that the quality of education in our respective countries will get better if we send our best talents abroad. And also it's interesting to think, who are these best talents? Who are these good students that the leader of the opposition was mentioning? Isn't actually the best students of the country, or is it the privileged ones who happen to have good connections and enough money to go abroad? There is not that many scholarships in the end, so it's not really supporting the whole society. How does the sending country benefit from these students in the end? Most of them actually stay in the country that they're going to study. They get good jobs there and they stay there. Is this the way how we improve the discussion, we improve the education and back in our own countries? By sending students to another country, we also create a dependency. We're dependent on top schools in America or in Europe, where we have to send our brightest kids in order to get the study that they require and they need. And as long as we're sending the best people away, we don't focus on our own education. We don't get the good universities in our countries if we don't get the good students today there. Also, it's interesting to think, how do we define this good education in different countries? How do we think about the top 100 universities in the world? They're all in the developing countries. Who defines these rankings? How do we define a good university? How do we know that they're actually better education? Isn't this more education of the Western idea? Isn't this somewhat of a neo-colonialist idea that we send young people to abroad to universities and then they come back and they tell us what to do? Shouldn't it be us in the countries we're living in who decide and who do the improvements for the country to get to a better place? Why do we allow these kids to go abroad and get a fancy degree and then they will come back and tell us what to do? Aren't these diaspora youth or these youth studying abroad, aren't they agents of the developed countries? Isn't this a new way to colonize us? We need our own autonomy to decide on our own. We need quality education in our home countries. We need education that respects our values and our way of life. We don't need Western universities to come to tell that the way we're doing things, or the way our culture it's wrong. We need to have our own universities. We need to have our own education, which allows us to build our own capacity. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Prime Minister. Your speech lasted 3 minutes and 4 seconds. We move now to the Deputy Leader of the Opposition, Emil.
Good evening. Thank you for letting me share this floor. Good evening, everyone. We as a team, sorry, I'm going to start my video. I'm sorry. We as a team, we do not agree with the motion that says developing countries should proactively incentivize students to study in their own countries. And therefore, before I start to present my two arguments, I'm going to refute the arguments of the Deputy Prime Minister, as he was saying that how come the sending countries are going to benefit from the students that are going abroad to study. And there I'm going to give you a very real example of that thing. I am from Lebanon, and a lot of students from here go and study abroad, and they have a lot of options. Some of them stay there, but they stay there and they work, and they are so successful, and therefore they send a lot of money to the country. We have annually around $7 billion to our country from transfers from abroad to the country here. And they always feel the passion and the empathy to come back to their homeland, to their country, to their parents and to their friends. And they also come back with a lot of a big amount of money, and they make a lot of successful businesses as well. And as for us as opposition team, we find that letting students of developing countries study abroad will have a great impact on two levels. I'm going to talk of them. The cultural level, we may say the personal level of the student, and the educational level. As for the cultural intelligence, increases cultural sensitivity by gaining knowledge of new places, new people surrounding, and allow to oneself to recognize how important they are. And it helps to relate the work effectively to the culture. And a lot of personal growth in another area found in studies. It says that it helps to gain traits of independence, good time management, higher self-confidence, and a greater sense of initiative, because they are abroad, and better communication skills, and increase the cultural intelligence by allowing them to know who they are and emphasize their identity out there. And we can say, talking numbers, about 96% of students they indicate that they believe studying abroad increased their self-confidence, and 97% said that the experience enabled them to learn something new about themselves, served them, increase their maturity. And talking about the educational level, beyond affecting career and educational direction, it is a lot significant and intangible impacts studying abroad to increase understanding their own cultural values and biases. 82% of alumni said that they had developed more sophisticated way of looking to the world as a result of studying abroad. And these same individuals were more likely to seek out greater diversity of friends. And we can see that long after their study experience have ended, they will still finding that it will affect their life choices and values. And I'm going to sum up by saying that the impact of and the influence of studying abroad is clearly dynamic and far-reaching, what is hard to quantify. However, I think it is not how study abroad changes an individual, but how the world benefits from those who study abroad. And hundreds of others, because of studying abroad, live their lives beyond their borders. And other experiences in life have proven that such profound, effective academic, professional, and personal development to study abroad affect a lot positively on the country's economical, cultural, and educational level. And to sum up that, we do not agree that developing countries incentivize their students to study in their own country. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deputy Leader of the Opposition. Right on time, 5 minutes. We move now to the closing government with Sarah as a member of a government. Yes, Sarah, again, you have 5 minutes whenever ready. I kindly invite you to ask points of information during the speeches, please. Go ahead, Sarah, whenever ready.
I would like to first point out a few points made by the opposition. They said that people do come back. They did not put evidence, they did not put actual percentages about this fact. Brain drain literally means that those highly skilled people that you're talking about that actually contribute to the economy never come back. And this is an actual problem for developing countries for the benefit of developed countries. And why not develop national education and invest in it rather than invest in sending them outside and get the higher education that they can get outside, but can't actually, for some reason, because the opposition thinks that nationally we can't afford that higher education. Also, the deputy leader of the opposition said that it's personal development and you're going to study abroad. So if you study abroad, you're going to gain cultural sensitivity. I mean, you don't need to study abroad specifically to get cultural sensitivity and awareness. We don't see how this specific point helps with this more than a simple traveling plan. So the opposition did not approve that anyway, did not give us any percentages or anything. Personal development is great, but we're talking about economics and we're talking about global politics here. This is not just about how you gain more awareness, but this is about the education sector and how these forces interact. So I guess I should build on what the opening government said about incentivizing and how we're going to incentivize. Maybe follow an approach of low cost to learning. For example, supplement educational finance, which is an important step or an important incentive that the government could do and that we propose as a policy. Also, a cash for grade policy, awards and praises for people who study here nationally, so that they can actually, this is the incentive, this is an actual literal incentive to staying inside. But as a member for the government, I would like to work and deepen what the opening government said about dependency and how sending people abroad would, sending our students abroad would keep us dependent and would not keep those skilled people abroad. I would like to say that I would like to tackle this point from a global politics approach. Let's say that the training and education of a country's workforce is a major factor in determining how well the economy will perform. Thus, what status will the country have in global politics? Meaning that more expertise, better students, better or higher quality education means more innovations, means more economic growth, means more global political value in the global market. So we are in an era of globalization and of very high mobility and interconnectedness between cultures and relations. Globalization and international trade help require countries to compete. And how do you compete? Through economy. But education actually is a driving force and is a major economic asset. Students, they found companies in their home countries. They employ people, researchers of higher education. If we incentivize, like I said, higher education, researchers are going to develop works that would be translated by companies. Companies would translate them into benefit. Benefit means more economic profit, more economic growth, thus more political value in the global market. People are the source of innovation, and it brings wealth and generates capital in the country. Universities are the drive of national economy. This report from MIT suggests that. It says that universities are a key part of drive to the regional economy. South Korea is a great country, is a great example of a country that did this. It was one of the poorest in 1948 because it economy because it invested in national school systems, and it guarantees excellent and high quality. Invested a lot in that field, so that is why we, as for this motion, we say that we should incentivize people to stay in their countries because education is the driving force for economy and the driving force to get a country on the global market.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you. Thank you, member of the government, for your speech. We move now to the closing bench of the opposition, and we start with Salma as a member of the opposition. Salma, you have got 5 minutes. The floor is yours.
Okay, greetings, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Salma, and I'm the leader, the member of the opposition team. First of all, I would like to clarify our team's position that we stand against the motion of today that says that the governments of the developing countries should privately incentivize a student to study in their own countries, and we are totally against this motion. I would like to first rebuttal or give a couple of notes on the other teams. First of all, the deputy said that most of the people that travel abroad for education are people with privileged and with connections, but there are many other options that these students might have traveled for, like scholarships that are 25%, 50%, and sometimes 100% if this student is highly ranked on the honors list or whatsoever. Second of all, the reason that you said that why don't we invest in our systems, but these systems are already corrupted. That's why most of the students, they go outside for them not to waste their time. Okay, yes, sure.
Do you have a percentage of how many of these students who study abroad that receive 100% of scholarships and are not actually privileged and paying with their own money?
This depends on what school or what high school or what degree that they have. Some of the students or some of the schools here in the developing countries provide that, for example, the top 3 that are going to get full marks and honors, these are the ones that are going to travel. And of course, the country that offers this scholarship is a developed country helping the developing countries. So it really depends on the school system and the country that it provides. Thank you for that. Also, I would like to mention another point that the last speaker has said that they want more innovation and more difference. And she also mentioned globalization, which is pretty amusing to me because globalization purely depends on the exchange of thoughts and exchange of cultures and the exchange of educations and ideas. So how are you going to do that if you don't allow your students to travel abroad and to take experiences and bring them back to their countries? And by that, you're going to increase the global market, you're going to boost your economy and whatsoever. No, thank you. I would like to get to my argument, which supports the social and economical aspect. First of all, me and the people on the opposition team, we have talked about points that are for the interest of the personal growth of the student, which is like improve the language, learn more about the new cultures, develop the confidence, and also there are also higher chances of the international career if these students are willing to pursue an international career or work outside and provide themselves a better living. Studying abroad could higher that percentage for them. So you don't just benefit on a personal level, you also benefit for the common interest for your country, for your people, for your community. Also, there's a statistic done by the University of Westminster in the UK that 55%, there's a 55% advantage from students who study abroad on their countries. So if you're speaking that most of these students could travel outside and not come back, well, at least you have a higher percentage, 55%, which is more than the half, who stay in the country and affect their country positively. Also, an example for a developing country that has gotten a lot of usage and a lot of positive impact from these abroad students is India, is one of the most major developing countries. And an author actually wrote a book. He's Indian, by the way. It's called Amar Kumar. And the impact, the book is named The Impact of the Foreign Study. He said that the increase of the abroad students from India, when they came back, they've taken more governmental and non-governmental positions in their country. So they did not just develop themselves, they've also interfered in their country's body, in their country's government, and tried to enhance it and develop it. So to sum everything up, we do believe that studying abroad is something positive, and we are sure and 100% sure that it boosts the efficiency of the work field in the developing countries. And by the end, I would like to say that we still stand against this motion of today. And thank you so much.
Thank you, member of the opposition. Right on time, 5 minutes. We move now to the whips, and we start with the government whip. Nuran, you have got 5 minutes whenever ready.
Just give me a.
Sure.
Can I start now?
Sure, the floor is yours.
So at the start, I would like to thank both teams for making great arguments tonight and discussing the main issues with this topic, but I would also like to point out the main points of conflict in the issue. First of all, the main point of conflict was whether or not the people who are traveling will bring something back of value to the developing countries. The opposition team seemed to believe that studying abroad is synonymous with good higher education, but that's not always the case. If we took the policy we mentioned seriously and work on incentivizing the studying in home by improving education, this problem will not occur. High quality education will not be synonymous with developed countries. Secondly, one of the main also points of conflict was globalization and the effect of globalization. As the Prime Minister, as the member of government of my government said, for globalization to occur, we need to have strong economic structure, strong minds, strong people to make globalization balance, not just occur. Globalization can very much turn into colonialization, as the opening team mentioned, if we only allow the education or higher education to be pursued by developed countries, making them control our narrative. And as the opening team also mentioned that they mentioned studies, opening opposition team mentioned studies saying that going abroad helps in personal growth and helps people find who they are. First of all, we are not saying that we should totally ban going abroad. We are saying we should incentivize studying in home. Secondly, we should also question, what do you mean by helping them finding themselves? In this way, we are making the developed countries define what is culture, define what is good and how to find yourself and how to act, matter of fact. Secondly, also in the point of globalization, the government opposition, the member of government of opposition actually mentioned a very good point, saying that studying abroad opens the chance for international work. Well, exactly. If a country is suffering from like cruciating situations, bad situations, do you think that the students leaving will prefer coming back than going and seeking international work? This system makes strong countries stronger and weak governments weaker. And discussing the fact that when they come back, they come with they come and they occupy governmental positions. Well, if they are going to occupy governmental positions, we need to make sure that they that the governments that they occupy positions in have an interference in the education they are receiving. Otherwise, it will be a soft colonization. Lastly, I would like to finish by saying that the member of government of the closing team gave very good points about how the low-cost approach may help the incentivization of studying in country, and how the cash propagate will also do that. Regarding corruption and global politics, which was used as a point by the opposition team, if we want corruption to end, we need to have bright minds to help end it. We cannot have the best of the best go take scholarships and leave and then suffer and then complain about corruption. We need to keep the best of the best in town. And I would like to end my speech by a quote by Adlai Stevenson, a governor of Illinois. He said, "Patriotism is not short, frenzied outbursts of emotion, but the tranquil and steady dedication of a lifetime." Thank you so much.
Thank you, Government Whip. Your speech lasted 4 minutes and 41 seconds. We move now to the final speaker of this debate and the whip of the opposition, Diana. Again, you have got 5 minutes speaking time, and you have the floor whenever you are ready for it.
Hello, everyone. Greetings to both teams, opposition and government, and the adjudicators. So I repeat that we as the opposition team totally oppose what the motion states, supporting our position with arguments. So we are against developing countries and incentivizing their students to study in their own countries based on what we have mentioned, that this will lead to improving the educational and economical sides of these countries. First of all, I want to summarize the arguments that have mentioned by my team. The first speaker of my team has said that developing countries need to improve their education in order to improve the country, education and economically, and this is logic. And the second is increasing cultural intelligence, which like about 96% of students believes that studying abroad increases their self-confidence and maturity. And the speaker, okay, it's not about changing the individual, and it's about gaining experience and to be open to the world. The third speaker also, the member of opposition, represents her argument that confirms our opposing side, economically and socially, that studying abroad will not only benefit the person himself, it will also benefit the country at all. She also gave statistics about this issue, like that 55% of these people who study abroad and get back to improve their country to get better. Yes, and now the fourth speaker, she also gave example of India, which is currently a developing country, which is improving each day more and more, and at the same time, a high percentage of its students have their studies abroad. And now I want to summarize the arguments of the government team. First speaker first speaker said that they are with the argument in order to protect the treasures of the country and that to save the minds, their people, of the people in it, without giving any examples or evidences of countries that are successful, when they make such issues or apply such issues. And the rebuttal was that they will not hoping to develop countries in this way. In this way, we can't develop countries. The second speaker in the government team said that the benefit of those skillful students who got the scholarships is small. Like he also specifies Western University as example, like why Western University, why universities like that to change our lifestyles. It's not, he take it specifically on one university or on one side. The rebuttal was that from the deputy leader of opposition, by giving example of Lebanese that really make so much money and successful business from students that are studying abroad, relying on facts and statistics. The third speaker also said that for the reason of installments, like in their own countries, the cost will be less. And she also mentioned that the educational side, which is the same argument that the Prime Minister argument has mentioned, without giving examples or statistics that confirms what they are saying. So now, and according to the arguments we have represented as the opposition team, we strongly and repeatedly oppose what the motion states. Thank you.
Thank you, Whip of the opposition. Your speech lasted 3 minutes and 54 seconds. With your speech, we come to an end to this debate. I would like to kindly ask you to leave the room for deliberations for 15 minutes, and then you will be invited back. Gabriela, can you hear me?
Yes, Shireen.
Would you be so kind as to leave the room for now for deliberations,
Just,
please?
Let's to let this.
Sorry? Okay, I believe all debaters have left the room. Yes? Okay, Zina, Carmen? Do you
Yes,
copy?
so I'm still calculating the scores. So
Sure, sure. Yes, yes. Okay, so I have 1 minute or two to finalize the scoring, and then we will have a group discussion together.
Yeah, great.
Okay, great.
So neither the interpreters nor the rapporteurs need to be here anymore either. So they're done. You can go, guys. Interpreters, rapporteurs. And you don't need to come back 15 minutes later either.
Right. Are you guys ready?
More minute.
Yes, I'm ready, Siri.
Okay, we just wait for Zainab then. I think we still have the interpreter with us. Or not. Okay, just girls, just a reminder on how we do this. So you will write who you think the team that ranked first, second, third, and fourth, and then we will display the paper simultaneously so that we do not influence each other. And then we discuss why we chose each team.
Okay, so I have finished.
Okay, so can you switch on your cams so that we show the papers?
Okay, so I wait a few minutes to wear my hijab.
Oh, sure.
Hey, sorry.
Okay, good to see you. Okay, so are your results ready? I mean, you have your teams ranked?
Yeah.
Are we ready to show them? Okay, so 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Okay, I don't have it like that, but
Okay.
I can.
Here's the winner team for me.
Closing opposition. Okay, let me write for you, Zainab. So that's team number 1 for you. Okay, Zainab, who ranked second?
Okay, the closing opposition first, and second, the closing government.
Okay.
And opposition, wait.
Opening?
Yeah, opening opposition, and then opening government.
Okay, good. Carmen, what about you?
From my side, the winner is the closing proposition.
Okay.
And the second one is the closing opposition.
Okay. Third and fourth?
The following one is the opening proposition and the opening opposition.
Okay. For my side, let me show you again. So 4 here, it means they got the higher rank, which is the closing government. So just like you, Carmen.
Mm-hmm.
And then opening government, I had them second. And then opening opposition second, opening government third, and closing opposition is the fourth. Okay, so here's what we will do. We first agree with the first and the least ranked, okay? So Carmen and I agree on the closing government. And actually, Zainab, they ranked first with you, they ranked second.
Yeah.
Exactly, okay. So if we can make a consensus here, and are you able to adjust the scoring, or do we need to have a conversation?
Yeah, I could, because it's only 1 point, you know?
Okay. So can we agree that the closing government is the first team.
Oh.
We agree on that?
Yeah.
Okay, so closing government rank 1. Okay, we go now for the rank number 4. Rank number 4 is really different. Zainab, opening government, Carmen, opening opposition, and for me, it's closing closing opposition. Okay, so who would like to start defending why they put them last? I can start with, if you like, why I chose the closing. Okay, well, I chose the closing opposition. Okay, so the closing opposition here, it includes the speech of the member of the opposition and the whip of the opposition. And let me start with the whip of the opposition, where the speaker mainly summarized the debate. So this is what the government said, this is what we said, and that's it. Whereas the speech of the whip should include the clash points and how, as a team, they managed to answer the clash points on the favor. So if I compare the whip of the opposition to the whip of the proposition or of the government, there's a big difference. The whip of the proposition is way better than the whip of the opposition in terms of performance, of course. So that's the point. So for me, the speech of the whip is really lacking in terms of role fulfillment, in terms of even her style. In terms of refutation, she has not enriched her speech with any kind of further refutation or rebuilding the situation. So the whip for me was a bit weak, her speech, I mean, and the member of the opposition as well. Well, she spoke for 5 minutes, so time is well. But for me, she didn't take up the debate from another perspective, because here we talk about 4 teams, and even if you are both opposition or government, if you are the closing, you need to depart from another point. For me here, the opposition didn't add anything new. Again, if we compare, because we work usually by comparing, if we compare them to the opposition or the government, who started from a different perspective. For me, the opposition did not bring anything new in the speech of the member of the opposition. That is why I prefer the closing government to the closing opposition. So this is why I simply rank them the last.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you also, Sirine, the fact that Diana, who was the last one, had a bad speech and, well, not so good when it comes to style. And also Salma, the member of the opposition, was so focused on refutation instead of adding any new information. But when I compare that team with the other ones, yeah, I can say that, I find that they have a better performance when it comes to refutation, but yes, if we take care of argumentation, is lacking. They have a lack of arguments, and that also affect the structure and the role fulfillment. So, yeah, I can agree with you.
Okay. So I don't know if we probably if we listen to each other and we can adjust our scoring so that we meet a common ground, because we have to agree on at least first and fourth, and then second and third, we can do that very easily. I don't know if we can get closer to each other, like even me, if you see that another team did more mistakes or lacked more component than this one, please tell me, and maybe I can adjust myself to yours. I don't know, Zainab, what do you think?
Okay, so actually for me, I put the opening government because especially the second one, which is the Deputy Prime Minister, she really didn't do well in argumentation.
It's a boy, I think it's Nicholas.
Yeah, also the structure, like I found it hard to follow, like was a lot of information. There wasn't like a good structure. Also, yeah, I didn't make like a good refutation, but like look at consideration to your point about the closing team, like I think like you have a point, like they didn't accommodate another position. So yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, but also if we look at the Deputy Prime Minister Zainab, and I don't know if you also agree, Carmen, with me, I think that he did quite well with the refutation. I mean, he talked about the dependency on the schools, and if it will be like sort of neo-colonialism, if they're going to work for and foster a certain agenda. I mean, he had something to say. At least, I mean, we cannot say that the speech was empty. But probably, yes, he didn't add a new argument, yes, but he did refutation. And I agree, because he finished way before his time, like 3 minutes.
Yeah, the structure was so...
Yep, yeah. He skipped 2 minutes altogether. So it means that his speech lacked something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what do you think? We agree on the last speaker. Also, the Prime Minister, if we look at the Prime Minister, do you think that she fulfilled her role in terms of argumentation? We can't judge her on refutation because she's the one who started.
Yeah.
But let's look at argumentation, let's look at structure, framing, these elements.
Yeah, I think she did well in argumentation.
Sorry, go ahead, Sinab.
Yeah, I just said, like, I think she did well in argumentation. She didn't have to make a refutation because she was the first one.
Yeah, but let's look at her strategy. Do you think they had a strategy? I don't see a strategy at all. I see it adopted by the closing government, but not by them.
Yeah.
And also as a prime minister, I think that she was to only one argument, which was the lack of good professionals.
Yeah.
So
she briefly speaking about brain drain, and that's it. She didn't give examples. She didn't link. Yeah, true. Well, if they're not the fourth, at least they should be the third. I mean, they can't be on the top two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, so let's decide, girls, before they come back. Okay, let's leave it here and move to the opening. Not the opening. Let's move to the opening opposition. Yes, that will be Gabriela and Emil. Do you feel they are better than the opening government? The performance, of course.
I think that Gabriela was dubitating a bit. Yeah, she was not focused, or at least she was maybe nervous.
Yeah, I agree.
She was also coming up with weak arguments, like I couldn't even
follow one argument. Yeah,
and it was the first one of her team. So also Emil, he's I mean the deputy leader of the opposition. He was also
well, he brought about 2 arguments. I mean, he tried, even though for me the second part was not that clear, by education, and then he just, I think, repeated the first argument. He said cultural sensitivity and then education, but I think they overlapped.
Yeah. Just repeating. I agree with you.
But he like did the structure was there. I mean, he started with the refutation, even though there were no variety of techniques. I mean, it wasn't that deep, but he spoke about how they bring about money, $7 billion, he said, transfer every year.
I think it's better than the leader of opposition.
Okay, so we agree that the opening opposition is better than the opening government.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
Okay, so do we rank second the opening government, opening opposition? Do we give them the second rank?
For me, yes.
Emil and Gabriela.
Yeah.
Okay, so opening opposition. Okay, so we are left with closing opposition and opening government. Close and opposition, it means the whip, I mean, Diana, and for you to remember, and Selma.
Yeah.
From my point of view, the opening government has the most powerful role in a debate, and they didn't took advantage of that situation. However, the in opposition, I think that they both were trying to fulfill their roles, and they were doing a great job when it comes to refutation and time management, I think so. The style of the opposition whip was not so good. I totally agree with that. But the one of Salma, she did a great speech, I think. And she was not reading at all. She was.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so we go for closing government as the last team and closing opposition as the third.
Yeah, I would say that.
Just a second. Closing opposition and opening government as number 4.
Yeah.
So let me repeat. Rank number 1 is the closing government.
Yeah.
2, opening opposition. 3, closing opposition. And 4, opening government.
Great.
Okay, for the scores, maybe not maybe, but because I will have to fulfill, I will have to fill in the link that Danny sent us. So I can call you later afterwards, after we finish the debate, and just to finalize the scores if you wish, like 10 minutes since we agree. But for now, let me write down some of the feedback that we would like to give to the debaters, if you have any feedback.
Okay, great.
Do you wish to give some feedback yourselves, or should I take yours and say it?
For me, like, I could say it like, I just want to the feedback on the argumentation area.
Okay,
like,
so let me write that down, please. Just a second, Zainab. Okay, so your feedback is on argumentation.
Yeah, they really need to include more evidence and try to link it to their position. Also, they have to make a great use of time, because some of them like didn't fulfill their rule regarding the time. And regarding the point information, they should like take advantage of this. And like there's only 1 or 2 point of information in the debate. Yeah, so this is like, I think it was more, it will be more interesting. I think that's for me for now.
Okay, so points of information, more evidence, link it to the motion, and the use of time or fulfillment. Carmen, anything to add?
Yeah, from my side, I would say that maybe try to address the problem with a wide approach. Try to think creatively about that topic, about the motion.
Wide approach, what do you mean by that, Carmen? If you are to explain it to the debaters.
Okay, for example, the arguments that offer the deputy prime minister, for example, the dependency point, try to go deeper to the motion instead of keeping the arguments in a superficial explanation.
Okay. Okay, and on my side, I will tell them about the strategy. I mean, being an important part of the prime minister's role, to start with the strategy, especially that we are dealing with policy debates. So we have to talk about the policy that we are going or wish to implement as a government. And the whip, I will also talk about the role of the whip. And do you think we need to add anything else? Are we fine?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here's how I proceed, and probably you can tell me if you've got a better idea. What do you think? Should we like announce the results and then give the feedback, or do it the other way around? Give feedback and then give results.
Yeah, maybe the second strategy would be better, because if not, maybe the ones who lose
interest
are not going to listen.
Exactly, that's what I thought about. So okay, so I give general feedback, And then I will ask you if you want to add something. Probably I forget or I don't explain your points very well in the feedback. So I will just ask you if you need to add anything. If you're fine with just say all is well. If you want to add or explain something, go ahead. And then I will announce the winner. But as we were informed, we announce only the team that ranked first. So I will just go for the rank number 1 and then we're done. But please, girls, like I will contact you through WhatsApp and then we can agree on the scores for me to send them, okay?
Okay, great. Thank
Excellent.
you.
Okay, so I would like to ask you, please, tech support team to call back the debaters. Okay, so good to have you back, but I think that not all of the debaters are here. Do we at least have a representative from each team? Okay, so let me check. Okay, so we've got, do we have Isra here? Okay, Isra, you are here from the opening government. Opening opposition, do we have anyone? Gabriela or Amin? Okay, Gabriela, you're here. Closing government, do we have either Sarah or Nuran? Closing opposition, do we have Salma or Diana?
Yes, we are here.
Yes, good. So we are missing the closing government. Sarah or Nuran. Like, can we manage to have at least one of them? Okay, so we'll give it like 1 minute to wait for them to join and see what's the problem. Meanwhile, congratulations for the debate. I hope you enjoyed it the same way we did. It's always a pleasure to hear young people discussing issues that are relevant to us and doing that like through a foreign language, but also now the challenging thing, which is online. I know it's not easy at all, but we manage. I mean, no technical issues whatsoever. Everything went smooth. Happy for that. Okay, so let me start with some very general feedback and hoping that one of the speakers from the missing team will join us. Okay, so as agreed with the kind co-educators with me, we would like to tackle mainly 4 parts, important parts on education and on your performance that I hope they will be beneficial to you in further endeavors and in upcoming stages. If I would like to start, first of all, let me start with POIs, points of information, which were unfortunately a bit missing in the competition today. We had only 2 POIs, 3 asked, but only 2 accepted, which is a bit less than expected. Like we expect that at least in every speech there is a point of information. That would have been great. So we encourage you to ask and accept point of information, because if you do not ask, it means everything is good with the speech that is being performed. And if you do not accept points of information when they are asked, it means that probably you are fearing confrontation. So we do not go to the extremes, but we remain in between, and we try to be moderate when we ask and we accept points of information. They are fruitful in terms of interaction, and real-time interaction is the core of debating. It's not a speech that we prepare and perform, but it's rather about the interaction that we have during the speeches. So we encourage you in further debates to try at least and ask 1 point of information per speech and accept at least 1 per your speeches. This is concerning points of information. Let me now move to what we call strategy in debating. All of the motions that will be discussed in this competition are policy debates. And actually therein comes the title of the competition, Policy Forum. So they are policy debates and policy motions that necessitate the presentation or the suggestion of a policy that as a team we would like to implement, something that went missing today. So we did not see a policy on the part of the government team. By policy, we mean what are the steps you are going to follow to respond to the motion. Our motion here is about incentivizing students to study at home. How will you do that as a government? Like we need a strategy or a policy for doing that. So what is the strategy and how you are going to implement it and why it is necessary to implement it. So if we answer the 3 questions, what and why and how, we can then talk about a policy debate. After that, I would like to point to the importance of building deep arguments that include evidence. So we encourage you as a panel of educators to try and enrich your speeches with arguments with evidences, so that you give credibility to the explanation and to the statements you have. And after you finish, you link it all up to the motion. So a quick reminder of how we make an argument. Different methods, but basically we start with this statement. This is the title of your argument. You explain it thoroughly, you give it your time, and then you give an evidence. It can be a statistic, it can be a study, it can be anything that is tangible that proves that your words are true. And then you link all of what you said back to the motion. You show how your argument really works in favor of your position and of the motion. Last but not least, the roles of the whip, which are primordial and as important as any other role of the speeches. So the whip here in the British parliamentary format is not requested to merely display the summary of the debate, they said, we said, but rather in a more way of showing the clash points between the 2 teams. So a good way would be to focus on 2 or 3 main clash points or points of contention that both teams disagreed on, and try to show how your team managed to win that. So focus on 3 points, 4 points. I mean, the most important clash points raised on the debate, and then show how you won them, how you answer them. But do not stick only to merely summarizing the debate. It will take time, like 5 minutes, 8 speakers. If you're going to summarize that, that will be like just a blatant summary, but we want it to be like a crystallization of what has been said. So 20 minutes of speeches or 25 minutes of speeches, you have the role to show the most important clash points in just 5 minutes. So be very precise, very concise, and straight to the point. Clash point 1, 2, 3, and show how you manage to tackle them. This is from my side. I don't know if Carmen or Zainab would like to add anything else before we announce the results.
I just no, thank you, Sirine. Thank you for your feedback. I just want to say that you did it really great, and we were having a great conversation, great debate. So good luck both for the coming debates.
Thank you, Carmen.
You summarized everything I would love to say. So good luck, everyone. This was a very inspiring and interesting debate. I really enjoyed to educate in it. And good luck.
Well, the pleasure was shared, surely. Okay, so now the moment of truth. Unfortunately, not all debaters are here, but I count that the information will be communicated to them. So after deliberation, and it was really, it took time, and we had to discuss it. Again, just, I mean, this is not some cliche or some words what we say, but all teams are winners here. Winners because we learn, winners because we interact, winners because we meet new people and we enlarge our network, and we participate in like pioneering events such as this one. I know it's promising. It will be life-changing for many. It has been for me at least. With no further ado, the team that ranked first after deliberation in this debate is the closing government. So congratulations to the closing government, meaning Sara and Nuran, who are unfortunately not here with us now. Good luck for the rest of the teams. Everything will be communicated to you for further endeavors and for further steps. If you have got any questions, please ask them while we're here. And we thank you for your effort. Thank you all, guys. Good luck. Okay, thank you. Everyone went, so I should be leaving myself. Okay, thank you, interpreters. Thank you, tech team. Thank you, Anna. See you.